From KCRG TV 9, your 24-hour news source. Welcome to this Show You Care special, 9 Who Care.
Calvin Coolidge once said, "No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor is given by what he gave." And that's what we're about to do. Honor some of the most giving people in eastern Iowa. Hello everyone, I'm KCRG TV 9's Nick Glue. Today we honor 9 outstanding volunteers, calling them our 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winners. During this program, we'll show you why each nominee deserves this special recognition. We begin with Dr. Kenneth Anderson of Center Point. The retired doctor uses his spare time to give free medical care. KCRG TV 9's Bruce Owney found that Dr. Anderson inspires other doctors to do the same.
Had she had a high fever before that?
She's had just a little cold.
Dr. Kenneth Anderson has been volunteering at the Community Health Free Clinic in Cedar Rapids for more than 4 years now. It's a busy place, treating nearly 2,000 people a month, many of them his patients.
When you're down here working, you get your adrenaline going, and it keeps you from getting tired. I look forward to working. Well, it sounds like your heart is doing pretty well and your lungs sound pretty clear.
The Free Clinic's executive director, Darlene Schmidt, says the 2 days a week Dr. Anderson volunteers also inspire others.
He has stepped up to the plate by coming more frequently, which has encouraged other doctors to come more than once or twice or 3 times a month. It has increased volunteerism among all the doctors.
Dr. Anderson practiced medicine for more than 50 years in Center Point. Then and now he's poured his heart and soul into helping the less fortunate. Part of that effort is the extra hours he spends each week working to get free medications for the Free Clinic's patients.
With the prescription assistant program, he's very valuable to us. He signs over 1,000 scripts a month, and that enables patients to get their medication from the pharmaceutical companies.
And remember, if you need anything, this is a place to come back. Many people at my age are not even capable of getting around or doing anything. And if working keeps you young, why, I'll keep on working.
Our second 9 Who Care nominee is Lewis Bell of Marion. He's a man who brings happiness to those in their final days of life. Lewis volunteers for Amenity Hospice, and every week he visits with patients in 12 nursing facilities all across eastern Iowa. It's a volunteer opportunity that he's turned into his life's purpose.
Good morning, Gordon. Good morning. How are you doing?
It's 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. Lewis Bell is in Marengo today, one of 12 stops throughout his week. This is Gordon, a patient Lewis has visited for over a year.
The more you get involved with this, the more it becomes something that you can't break. It's almost like a habit.
Lewis officially retired 3 years ago, but since then he's volunteered more than 40 hours a week, traveling 33,000 miles last year.
You don't? Okay.
All to bring smiles to aging faces.
I go past the grieving. I go past looking at the patients dying. The thing I look at is that the patients, this is that patient's last days or months or hours on this earth. And don't they really deserve the best? So would you like me to read some scriptures to you?
Whether sharing fishing or farming stories or just reading from the Bible, families say Lewis's compassion is priceless.
Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself.
It makes a difference between night and day. When you have someone in a home who doesn't maybe get very many visitors, to have someone come in and be your friend and to walk alongside you in that journey, it takes a tremendous amount of compassion.
Lewis has many fond memories of his time volunteering, but there are certain stories that remind him of why he does it.
He just looked at me and he said, you know, he said, you've made my last days something special. And it just about ripped me up.
Lewis Bell, a 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winner who brings happiness to those when they need it most. When we come back, I want you to meet a Cedar Rapids couple that have become compassionate travelers, and a Manchester man who surpasses the limitations of his illness to help high school students stay on task. Meet more of our 9 Who Care right after this.
This KCRG TV 9 Show You Care special is brought to you by St. Luke's Hospital, Alliant Energy, Collins Community Credit Union, and iWireless.
Welcome back to this Show You Care special. A successful volunteer is one who knows how to blend what one loves with what others need. Carl and Mary Carson have found that perfect blend. A passion for traveling the world mixed with a love of helping those in need. KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis caught up with the Carsons as they packed for their next volunteering adventure.
Carl and Mary Carson aren't packing this RV for a camping getaway. They're packing this RV so it can be shipped to Mexico.
We're excited about being able to serve twice as many people.
This is the second time the Carsons have renovated an old RV to be used as a mobile medical unit in the poorest parts of the Yucatan.
They have tin roofs, they have dirt floors, they have no bathrooms. I mean, imagine the health needs that you get with that kind of situation.
We've spent our careers in the school system, working with people, primarily a lot of students with disadvantages and disadvantaged children, and I think this is sort of a carryover from our careers. The original bed from the motorhome was torn out, and the examining bed was built here.
Carl and Mary were chosen as 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winners because of their compassion for people in both Mexico and Russia. This winning couple gather donations from local businesses and find connections through friends and organizations to bring medical care, school supplies, and medical equipment to those less fortunate.
We're so fortunate. I don't think anybody who hasn't been to a country where people are struggling realize how fortunate we are. It makes you feel very humble. It makes you feel very blessed.
And along the way, the Carsons have been blessed with friends from around the world, all because they reached out to help someone in need. In Cedar Rapids, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
Carl and Mary Carson plan to give their $500 award check to the foundation which supports the mobile medical units in Mexico. And that foundation plans to double the check, making it a $1,000 donation. Our fourth 9 Who Care winner is Tim Dougal of Manchester. The terminally ill cancer patient makes a difference every day at One Cedar Rapids High School. KCRG TV9's Diane Patthew walked the school's halls with the man who keeps kids on time.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. At certain times of the day we have class breaks. We have 800 and some kids just going through here within a 5-minute period.
And it's Tim Dougal's job of keeping things moving smoothly.
Go to lunch, go home, go to class.
You'd never guess this energetic campus host has a terminal illness.
I was diagnosed with terminal liver cancer 3 years ago.
Think that would stop Tim from volunteering at Washington High School in Cedar Rapids, a trip of 70 miles away from his home in Delhi?
I told the doctor day one, when he told me I had a year to live, I said, I'm not satisfied with that. We've got to go for more.
And he did. With the help of experimental drugs, Tim has been able to extend the time he has left. So he continues to monitor these halls and welcome visitors to the school. On his own time, out of his own pocket, all around his chemo schedule. So what keeps him going day after day?
Under the assumption the kids need me, the teachers need me, the principal needs me.
And he's right to think that. It's an attitude like his that keeps students and staff in awe.
They're our future. And if we don't treat them right now, what are they going to be like when they're our age trying to take care of us?
How does he feel being a 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winner? Extremely humble, of course. In Cedar Rapids, Diane Patthew, KCRG TV9 News.
Tim says his award check will go to the University of Iowa Dance Marathon, which provides emotional and financial support for patients at the Children's Hospital of Iowa and their families. And we have more exceptional Eastern Iowans for you to meet. An Eastern Iowa woman who makes the most of the last moments of life. A Dubuque woman who helps cancer patients feel good from the outside in. And a college student who inspires others to volunteer. Meet them all when we come back. Welcome back to this Show You Care special. You heard earlier about hospice patients and their families and what a difference it makes when someone helps them in the final days of life. KCRG TV9's Liz Mathis shows how our next 9 Who Care volunteer has combined her hospice dedication and master gardening to make new friends and lasting memories.
There's a little garden spot in Iowa City's Willow Creek Park.
Go back, and then
where Melanie Hopper digs, weeds, and coffees every Friday during growing season with fellow volunteers.
That this is just their spot. This is all in honor of them.
A local man dedicated this spot to his mother. Hospice, Project Green, and others made magic. Like the plaque says, made friendships too.
So proud of this, aren't you? I am, and I think the snow's beautiful, but I'm a little disappointed that you can't see what's underneath it because it's so pretty.
Melanie is known for that enthusiasm and loyalty at Iowa City's hospice.
She's so warm and so accepting and so supportive of folks that they just feel like she is part of their family.
From board member and speakers bureau to pet therapy and patient care.
The listening, the humor, the caring, that is very apparent just as who she is as a person. And that supports not only the patients and families, but our organization.
We're going to make it down here. Yes, we are. Hi.
After a patient dies, Melanie is still there for the family. Like Mary, who lives in Wellman. Melanie cared for Mary's son, Jack, who died 4 years ago. Melanie and Mary still meet every Thursday for lunch.
Didn't realize what a wonderful friend was coming to me.
The retired school teacher, dedicated wife, mother, and grandmother has logged hundreds of volunteer hours.
I am so happy that hospice is able to bring quality to life for people at the end of life.
Melanie Hubbard of Iowa City, a 2005 Nine Who Care Jefferson Award winner. This is Liz Mathis, KCRG TV9 News.
For many cancer patients, living with hair loss is often the toughest part of the disease. Making cancer patients look good on the outside can be the best way to help them feel better on the inside. KCRG TV9's Katie Wiedemann introduces us to a Dubuque volunteer who gives cancer patients a new look along with a new attitude.
As a cancer survivor herself, Carolyn Sandman understands the significance of a positive attitude.
I was given like less than 2 years to live, and if I can tell somebody who's in stage 4 like me that, hey, I was there, look at me, I'm fine, I'm having a great life, I love being just alive every day.
Carolyn passes her joy along to the more than 700 cancer survivors she has helped look and feel better. In addition to finding the survivors the perfect wig and the best makeup, she helps them change their spirit from within.
Prior to Carolyn, I had despair. And despair takes everything away from you.
The retired hairstylist does all of this without being paid. All she wants in return is a little laughter.
I want to make that person laugh. I want to see a giggle out of them. And that's what I work so hard to get that first laugh.
Carolyn says people living with cancer become survivors the minute they're diagnosed. Some say they come in to see Carolyn because they're dying, but they walk out the door ready to take on life.
I changed my whole attitude from dying and preparing that and the children to living with the disease rather than dying with it.
It's Carolyn's message of hope that helps many survivors live a longer, happier life.
Tears okay.
Tears okay. She made a traumatic difference. More than you know.
In Dubuque, Katie Wiedemann, KCRG TV9 News.
Carolyn will give her award check to the Dubuque Cancer Survivors Support Group. The money will help cover the costs of wigs and other beauty supplies. From her education to her professional aspirations to her daily interactions with people, Amanda Styron is a shining example of community service. The University of Iowa student has even helped start some nonprofit organizations in Johnson County. KCRG TV9's Keisha Brown introduces us to our 7th Nine Who Care Jefferson Award winner.
I want my energy to go towards something that's really going to matter and that's really going to help someone.
Amanda Styron's passion for helping others helped her create 2 nonprofit organizations. One is called the 10,000 Hours Show. The project recruits people to give at least 10 hours of community service.
We had 13,572 hours completed last year.
In turn, volunteers are rewarded with tickets to a private concert featuring a nationally known performer.
And we think that community organizations are looking for people to volunteer to help them do what they need to do on a limited budget, and also are looking for a way to reward their volunteers. And so we try to help all of those things at once.
She's probably spent 10,000 hours herself
putting the 10,000 Hour Show together.
The 23-year-old is also a full-time student at the University of Iowa. Amanda also works at the Iowa Children's Museum.
Can I help you make a Stonehenge read? She's just so community-minded and wanting to help people, and her volunteerism efforts are just extraordinary, and I think that will take her a long way.
And Amanda is ready to go the distance. She graduates in May, and she wants to dedicate her time to Iowans.
I think the thing that I'm excited about for the future is really working with the leaders of the state to develop a plan that will actually help the state grow.
Keisha Brown, KCRG TV9 News.
And just this month, Amanda started a new venture. Now she also volunteers at the Coralville Convention and Visitor Bureau. And I'd like to introduce you to two more outstanding volunteers. First, a Cedar Rapids man who turns shoeboxes into Christmas blessings. Also a Monticello man known as Mr. Fruitcake at a camp for disabled kids. We'll be right back with more right after this.
Dave Franzman, KCRG TV9.
Welcome back to the Show You Care special. A simple newspaper article led one of our 9 Who Care winners to help people he would never meet. Dan Verhusen of Cedar Rapids brings joy to children through gift-filled shoeboxes at Christmas time. KCRG TV9's Sarah Colbert introduces us to this dedicated volunteer.
This is probably one of my favorites here.
Processing shoeboxes at a Minneapolis warehouse is the highlight of Dan Verhusen's year.
It's like a hands-on, pick your own gift, and Samaritan's Purse will deliver the gift for you. Worldwide, they collected 7.2 million shoeboxes this year, and they're being distributed in over 100 different countries.
Dan vividly remembers the first day of volunteering for Operation Christmas Child. His face lights up just talking about it.
We volunteered the whole day. We had such a good time. We came back the next day and volunteered, and we're driving home that Saturday night. I looked over at Sarah and said, "What are we doing next weekend?" And she says, "You want to go back, don't you?" I go, "Yeah." So we went back the next weekend.
After exceeding the average volunteer time of 3 hours, it only seemed natural to bring Dan on board.
Bob Lafremboise that runs the processing center up there, and we were talking to him. He says, "Well, why don't you come back and be on staff next year?" It's like, sure.
He can't imagine spending the 3-week stint in November doing anything else. Dan says it's a special opportunity for him and his wife, Sarah.
There's a couple things. First off, we don't have any kids. So I've got a soft spot in my heart for kids, and here's an opportunity.
Dan's passion for the project extends into the office at Rockwell Collins, and his church, Hillside Wesleyan in Cedar Rapids, was able to serve as a collection site for the shoeboxes. Dan Verhusen, a 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winner who gives of his time so gifts from others can bring joy to children worldwide. In Cedar Rapids, Sarah Colbert, KCRG TV9 News.
Dan donated his award check to his friends at Operation Christmas Child in Minneapolis. Many charitable groups in eastern Iowa literally couldn't function without volunteers. And with thousands of disabled campers each year, Camp Courageous needs more donated help than most. As KCRG TV9's Dave Franzman reports, Dan Voorhees is just one of the Jones County camp's many volunteers. But this 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winner's contributions have stood the test of time.
These days, Camp Courageous provides opportunity to nearly 5,000 disabled campers a year. But when Dan Voorhees started volunteering here 30 years ago, there was no sprawling campus. Barely 200 people came that first year.
There's a tremendous number of people that serve the camp in the volunteer status, and they, of course, are what make camp excel.
But Camp Director Charlie Becker says Dan stands out.
He's one of those guys that wears his heart on his sleeve. If Camp Courageous needs anything done, I'd never hesitate on phoning Dan at any hour of the day or night.
As the camp grew, Dan's volunteer work grew. In the early 1990s, he joined the camp's board. He's also involved in many important fundraisers like the garage sale and cruise and car show. Last but not least, he's now the camp's official, Mr. Fruitcake.
Fruitcakes are a perfect example. Who else can get individuals out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning to come out here and start baking fruitcakes at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're all volunteers?
The camp kitchen is Dan's headquarters every fall for overseeing an army of 30 to 35 bakers. The 7,000 fruitcakes baked and sold are the camp's third biggest yearly fundraiser.
And as far as finding time, I think people probably set their priorities where they choose, and we like to help people.
Dave Fransman, KCRG, TV9 News.
Dan volunteers for the Lions Club, Monticello Chamber, and many other community groups that have also given him awards for his work. Dan's Nine Who Care Jefferson Award check will go to Camp Courageous in Monticello. We paid tribute to all of these Nine Who Care Jefferson Award winners at a special awards banquet. Each nominee received a Nine Who Care plaque, a $500 check for the charity of his or her choice, and a Jefferson Award medallion. KCRG TV9 and our Show You Care sponsors support the Nine Who Care recognition program. Over the past 14 years, we've honored 130 volunteers and donated $62,000 to charities all across eastern Iowa. The American Institute for Public Service hosts the National Jefferson Awards program. All 9 nominations will now be sent to the national competition in Washington, D.C. that takes place later this year. Now that you've met our 9 Who Care, please show you care by volunteering in your community. We urge you to give of your time and talents to a cause you feel passionate about. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.